Hello everyone, welcome back. Today is going to be a follow-up episode to our last video. If you catched it, the how to remove a Volkswagen engine out of a Volkswagen Beetle. It was nothing to it, and now we're going to get down to tearing the engine down. As you notice, I've already got on the engine stand. I got my table cleaned off. How about that, guys? Nice and clean over there. Trust me, it will not stay clean very long. We're about to make a mess here and everything. As you can see, I got this engine on the engine stand now. I had to go buy one of these little, well, actually I've had one of these, but if you're going to work on a Volkswagen engine on an engine stand, you should get one of these. They come in handy. There's a website called the Samba. It's where I bought mine. In fact, if you ever need any Volkswagen help, that is a good place to go, the Samba. And they have nothing but Volkswagens. You can get parts, all kinds of information, forums you can read if you're having trouble and everything. It's great information. I've used it quite a bit to help me out on some of my issues too. Alright guys, so right now what we're going to do is we're going to start tearing it apart and everything. And this thing is real simple to tear apart. Nothing to it. But right now we're going to start with these exhausts. If you notice, it's a little wet in here. I've already put some penetrating oil in there to squirt in there to kind of work them loose. So we'll start by taking this off, and then we'll take off the little baffles there on each side. Then we'll start taking a little off at a time here. So well, let me get my tools out and let's get started. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and drain the oil and everything. And you can see I got the plug holes out, so it's just a few more turns. About ready to come out. And there she comes. Whew. And it's not much. These Volkswagens hold about a quart and a half, so they don't really hold a lot. You can buy slump pans. I actually have one that can extend it out so it'd be like a normal 5-quart vehicle and everything, which helps if you live in a hot area like in Texas and everything. Okay, now that we got the oil drain, I'm actually going to let it sit there and drain a little bit, and then I'll put the plug back in it. We're going to work on our exhaust here. You can see that I already took the 2 bolts off, one on each side here. The stud came out on this one, so we'll live. And then there's 2 bolts that go here, and then you have a clamp, and it's the same thing on the other side. They're all done and it's ready to come off. Also, I want to point out, this is not a stock exhaust for a Volkswagen. This is an aftermarket one, as you can probably tell by the bigger pipes. It's got a nice glass pack, a nice tone to it. And I'll explain real fast why I went to this style of exhaust. It's a funny story, really. I rode with the stock exhaust because, it worked. No sense of changing it. At the time when I was in college, I didn't have any money. But I was at church one time, and I had a bunch of those. The original stock exhausts are, about 1.5 inches, and they stick out like really far, if you ever seen them. Well, I was at church one time, and the kids were out there playing, and they decided to jump on my exhaust, and they bent it. And unfortunately, I didn't see them or catch them until after it was already bent. But I bent it back up, and on my way back to Waco from Houston, the darn thing exploded here. Because it had a kink in it somewhere, but I didn't know that the kids have bent it. And when I bent it back, I thought I fixed it when I straightened it, but I didn't. I left it kinked, and it blew a big, massive chunk out of here. And when it did, it rocked this whole engine. But the alternator broke free when I had the old style Solex in here, and just jammed all in there. It twisted the alternator. Everything blew out, bolts, everything. It was a It was a field day fixing this on the side of the road, trying to get it running. Okay, that's my story for the day. So let's move on. So now that we got everything off, the thing should just, wow, that easy. Comes right off. All right, we worked our way to the side of the motor here, and we're going to take this baffle off right here. Now, there isn't really much that holds it on. If you look underneath here, you can see 2 screws where these things just mount. You just got to undo them. And then if you come to the back of the engine, it is just mounted right there, those 2 bolts. And it'll just push out that way, and it just comes right off. As literally all that holds it on. And also, this is what brings the heat into your cabin. As you can see, you've got the fan behind the alternator that'll spin and blow the air, and it will push the heat down through into the cabin. And when you open the vents up, the little cables, it'll let the heat go in. And let me tell you, it does get hot after a while. So let's get this off. Alright, I got all the bolts loose, as you can plainly see, and you just pick up and come out. Come on. There she comes. Bam! Ooh, that's heavy. All right, once you get that off, we can just put it with the rest of the stuff for right now. And now the other side's the exact same way to get off, so I will not show that side. Okay, the next thing we're going to work on is taking this stroud off right here. Taking this all off, and believe it or not, you can take it off as one big unit with the alternator and all. Just pick straight up here. First thing we got to do is get these bolts. Let's see if I can show you. Right in that one right there. There's one on the other side. You undo that. We'll need to take the coil wire off. To get that off, disconnected from the coil. In my case, I need to take the spring off. You probably won't have to if you're still running a stock setup. We'll take the pulley off, or the belt off here, and then the alternator clamp needs to come off. Then take the other one off, and I think she'll lift straight up. So let me get busy on that, and then we'll do that next. Okay, we got everything loose here, so it is ready to come off. As a fact, you can see it's ready to. So I'm gonna have to wiggle this up. As you can see, there it comes. It's coming there, but I'm gonna need both hands for this. So normally if you just have, I have to be careful because I got this big giant carburetor on here. So I'll have to probably kind of caddy cord it out there. But if you have a normal Solex, you can just pick straight up and it should be no problem. So just grab it by here and just kind of wiggle it out and slowly make sure you got everything. Oh, one thing I want to point out on this shield back here, make sure this tube usually sits down down there where that hole is. You see my finger cover? You just got to push it back. This cover's not on there correctly, but you can just push it back and then pull it on top of it and everything. Now this part will separate, as you can see, so it's not connected to this, I do believe. Let's see. Well, actually it comes out together. Okay, I stand corrected and everything. So the next thing we need to do before we get it off, I guess, is take this cover off. Just 2 bolts. That won't take too long. So let me get that off and we'll try this again. Alrighty, we got the doghouse off here. Let me show you. Now, because I'm running these big giant Webers here, I had to take a lot more off. Like I had to take the back cover off here because the oil cooler is in here, and trying to get it couldn't get out. Because normally you just go straight up with a normal Solex. So if you got a Solex, you want to take hardly any of this off. Plus, I had to take the coil off and everything to get plenty of room. But there she is. There she is. All right, now that we got that done, next step is we'll go ahead and let's see what we need to do here. See if we can get this alternator stand off. Probably not. Best thing to do is we might just go ahead and take this this intake off, undo these wires, and take these 2 bolts out, and undo that knot right there. Get these other 2 out, and we should be able to maybe swing them back and just wiggle them out there with no problem here. So I'll move all the cable to get all these plug wires out of the way, and that'll probably be our next target. Okay, we got our carburetor all ready to loose, so we're going to take the whole thing out. So, yep, let's see. Let's go ahead and get these things out of here. There we go. That's out. And they really just kind of pull out. There we go. Now we just got to kind of lean her back a little bit, and it should just, there she comes. Nothing to it. Now I'm going to try to keep this upright so nothing gets in those. I got to put some stuff in the carburetor, but yeah. Well, let me get this organized here. But yeah, nope, we got that off. So our next step, let's go ahead and take off the alternator stand here. It's just 4 bolts. And let's see here. I don't believe this needs to come off. I think this comes off 1 unit, but if you ever need to take this off, there's a special tool I made. Let me go see if I can find it, and I'll show you how to take this off if you ever need to. Okay, so here's that homemade tool I was telling you that I made. It's a little 1/2-inch bolt, been cut a little bit, and then it's got 2 washers in here. I think they're 1 3/16 is what it is. Welded right there, and what it does is when you go in there, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I'll try to get close up. If you can look in there, you can see there's slots. And what it is this washer, let me put this down, will fit in there, and then you can take a wrench and turn it and everything. I'm sure you can go buy one of these, but it was just cheap just to make one and everything. But if you ever want to replace, that's how you do. But in our case, we can just remove the alternator stand, I believe, without removing this. We might have to, well, I say that, we might have to wiggle it up a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, there's plenty of trouble, so we'll be able to get it out and everything. But that's how you get that out if you ever want to take just this off. You have to have a tool like this, and if you need some more details and everything, just shoot me a message and I'll be glad to give you some more information about it, what I used and everything. Alright, now that we've got the 4 bolts out of here, we can gently get this thing going here. Yeah, there she comes. She might have to twist a little bit. Well, I say that. Come on. Do. There we go. Oh, all that twisting motion. Okay, and that can just, we'll set that right over there. And on to the next thing here. I guess for right now, we're going to concentrate on getting these little tins off. And I'm trying to leave the distributor in just in case. I don't want to have to move and reset timing just yet. Because I think what I'm going to do before I split the case is go in and take the heads off. And take the jugs off and see if one of the pistons is damaged, which is what I think is wrong. I don't know. I hope not. Because that means I'm going to lose a bet, probably. And everything. My family seems to think I blew a piston, so we're going to find out. Anyway, so let's get these tins off. They're not on by hard by much. A couple screws here. Got a little screws here. And these under tins will come off as well. As you can see, they're mounted to the block, 2 on each side, so that's no big deal. Let's see if I can get down there and see, you can see a better view. Yeah, there you go. Two bolts. And these tins come off real easy. And some of them are just clipped in there a little bit. So let me get these tins off. It shouldn't be that hard and everything, and then we'll see what we need to do next. Once you got all the bolts out of this tin here, this stuff should just pick right up and come right up, just like that. All right, we're gonna lay that down right there. Now let's take a look at our engine real fast before we go any further. I am looking for anything that looks damaged. And so far, nothing is damaged. That means we're going to have to dig deeper. Last time it was pretty evident by the hole in the block. But this time, I don't see anything. Nothing broken. So what we'll probably have to do is take the heads off. I'm going to leave the oil cooler on for right now. There's no need to take it off. But if you really want to just take it off, I'll show you. It's just this bolt right here, and it just wiggles out. If you're building a new engine, or every time I do an engine rebuild, I always change these things. You never know, and it's just good to start off with a nice fresh one. And they're very relatively inexpensive and everything. Now for the distributor, this thing just unbolts right here, comes loose, and then you can just pull it out. But for right now, in case I don't have to split the motor, I'm going to leave it on. Now if I have to split the motor, I'll take it off and reset the timing, but I'd rather not if I don't have to. If it's just a damaged piston, we can take these heads off and the jugs and replace the piston right there and everything. Basically take the head off. I believe you take these bolts off, and it's got some on the inside here, just like those, 4 of them. So you take the valve cover off, and then it'll come off, and then the jugs slide off. Alright, I guess what we could do before we end this video is let's take these spark plugs to see if we can see any damage on them. Okay, we've got spark plugs out here. They all look pretty good but one. In case you're wondering why this one's wider than the other, I had a helicoil in the head. I had one of these spark plugs blow straight right out and took the threads with it and everything. It was the weirdest thing ever. Boy, it was a loud bang when that happened, but it came right out when I took the spark plug out, so I'm going to have to figure a way or just get another head, probably be best. But if y'all look at these plugs, they look pretty good. They should only have about 200 miles on them. But we kind of have an idea. See, they all look pretty decent, but this one, which is the number 4 cylinder, you can see that it got, well, you might not be able to see it on film, but I can definitely tell it's had a lot of black dust on it. So that might be the cylinder that we want to look at first. Or I will look at as number 4, which would be the opposite of what I thought which one it would be. I actually thought it was the other side. But that's where we're going to start probably. We'll tear that head off here in a little bit and go from there. Alright, in case you're wondering what number cylinders these are, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, if I remember right. Plus, I'm using a cheat sheet here. These, if you notice these panels here, they're labeled. You can see the 1 and the 2. All right. So I guess the next step is that I will need to get everything cleaned up. I've kind of got things scattered again. Kind of organize all this mess up and get these heads. We'll start working on getting these heads off. Alright guys, now we're going to take the head off. I already got the other side off and it looks good. Well, I'm going to show you how to take these heads off, and it's both the same on both sides. You're just going to flop that down. Oh, there it goes, so the engine doesn't turn on me. That should come right off. Ah, there we go. Now let the oil pan underneath here, so because the oil is going to drip out a little bit. Now, if we can just get that up a little bit. Alright, now what we need to do is we've got to take this rocker arm assembly off. I believe these are two 13mm nuts. Let's see if that's what the little one is. If that's what it says. I don't think you guys can see it, but it says 13, and bingo. So we need to take that off. So let me get the ratchet, and once you get the bolts off, the rocker arm assembly should come off. You might have to use a screwdriver to help kind of pry it off just a little bit, but this one looks like it's coming just good. All right, and there's a washer there, or some. It looks like an O-ring there. Wonder what that was doing in there. Oh, I see. It goes inside there. I'll have to put that back once we start looking into this. Alright, so now that that's done, let's put this in a nice location. Once you get the rocker arm set somewhere and safe, you can go ahead and push these push rods out. Do be careful because they will have oil in them. Like me, I already made a mess on my nice pair of jeans that my wife will hurt me. Probably. I'll have to wash them. Okay, I'm trying to keep these in somewhat order here and hold the camera at the same time. Alright, once you get them out, you can see they're dripping a little bit. There we go. They're all in order. Now that the push rods are out, we can go ahead and take out the 8 bolts here. This, and there's 4 in here. Alright, once you do that, they'll come out, and they'll probably all come out together, or these all slide out. Boy, you guys can't smell it, but I can smell the oil on this side, and it smells so bad. It's burnt. I'm afraid whatever caused it is on this side. Oh, it smells terrible. Anyway, it's a 15mm nut, so just take them all out, and there's a washer behind them. So before you take the head off, you might push it out a little bit so the washers will come out, and just grab all the washers out of there so that way they don't fall in the oil pan. I'm gonna try to get them out before I take them fully off. So let me get those loose. Once you get all the bolts free, the head should just pop right off. May have to wiggle a little bit. Oh. All right, and that's how that comes off. Okay. So, oh gosh, smells terrible. All right, let's get these jugs off and then we'll see. Okay, I went ahead and pulled the jugs off. They just pull straight out, so there was nothing to them. I'm looking at the cylinder here, and I think we found something here. Look at these rings here. They are, they ain't no good. They've stretched out and everything. Pretty sure that's part of our problem, because if you look at this one, they're all nice and tight. I think that's our problem. Well, since I've tore down this far, I'll probably go down further, but I think we might have found our problem here. Those rings should be good on there tight. If I looked at the other ones now, this one here has some loose ones too. Not as bad. Yeah, look at that. They're bad. But this one, let's see. No, they're pretty tight. They're not loose. They don't, well, at least they don't stretch over. So now that one's been come out a little bit too. Well, maybe they're supposed to be like that. Well, I'm going to do some more looking, but they don't. But anyway, I'm not saying that's my problem, but I'm going to look into that. I will let you guys know. They don't look good. Alright guys, we're going to kind of end on that note tonight. It's getting late here, and I'm ready to go cook dinner for myself and everything. But this is how it's been, how to tear down a Volkswagen motor. It's really nothing to it. This is, like I said before, this is a would be a great father-son project or whatever. These cars are simple, easy. Or someone who's trying to learn mechanics, this is a great motor to learn on. It's one of my first motors I ever worked on with the Volkswagen engine right here. In fact, this is the very first motor I worked on and did. I've had it for many years, and I've seen the evolution of it, which is pretty cool. But now we need to get it back together and run. We are now on the right track. Those piston rings, I don't believe are right. I don't believe they should be just ready to fall off. They just seem like they're just not right. But I will look into this a little bit more later and everything. It's just getting late, and I'm ready to call it a day here, guys. If you got any other questions or comments, you can just leave them in the comment section there, and I'll be glad to get back to you. If you'd like to see an update on this, please let me know. Oh, also, I'm starting something new on these YouTube videos, but I got a poll question at the beginning of every video within the 5-second to 10-second range, as you know, asking different various questions. And I'm going to ask a question on this video of would you like to see the rebuilt video or not. I'm going to leave that up to y'all, and if you guys say yes, I will do a video on putting this thing together, depending on how things go here and everything. But I've added them to all my other videos. So if there's some particular thing that you like, that you'd like to see more of, go and watch it, and you know, hit the little poll question. It's another way, easy way for us to stay interactive and let me know what you guys want and everything. I know you guys definitely want more gold wing videos. That is something you guys have told me, so that is something that will happen here pretty soon and everything. So guys, if you liked this video and thought it was helpful or educational or just entertaining at least, you know, please give it a big thumbs up. I do appreciate it. Let you know if you guys let me know if I'm doing an okay job or sorry job or whatever and everything. And if you'd like to see more of this content related stuff, please subscribe to the channel. It's right there, the little bottom of the screen there. You can subscribe and everything, guys. And I think that's going to do it. Well, I will see you guys later, and you guys stay safe out there.